I'm going to be unboxing and checking out a new set of Yamaha HS8 monitors. Now, the reason why I picked up a set of monitors, such as the Yamaha HS8, is because, well, largely for much of the time I've been recording and mixing music, I've been using headphones. When I started out back in the, 99 with my first multi-track recorder, headphones were the only option because I didn't want to be annoying other people in the house. And since 2007, I've been using a pair of Koss UR40 headphones, which have been really nice. I mean, they were cheap headphones. I mean, they were like 27 bucks back when I got them, but they had a really nice full sound, okay? And it was just like everything else you read, where people say you have to just get used to what you're listening through. You become aware of where some deficiencies may be, and you're able to compensate with that. Plus, people have said check here and there. So I've largely used those headphones for mixing. And like I said, they got a really nice full sound, good on the low end, good all the way on the high end, good mid-range, but I have noticed they're a little soft in the upper mid-range when I go to put mixes that I've done on bigger systems. Now, I've also done mixes on not huge, but big home audio systems. And of course, same as the headphones, the home audio systems that I've used, they've all translated very well over to many other different systems, including people's cars and their own systems at home through earbuds and so forth. But, I'm just wondering, if I were able to get a set of actual monitors, would they really be able to make or help me make something just that much better? Now, normally, when I've been mixing on actual home systems, I've been using these type of speakers here, and these are Kenwoods. They got 15-inch subs, front ported cabinets, and then, of course, mid-range and two tweeters for kind of like upper mids, and then super high frequencies up near the 20K range up there at the top. And they've been really nice. I mean, this sound system sounds just freaking awesome through the 1200 watt amp when watching movies and commercially produced music. And then, of course, I've also used the house speakers back where I grew up from in mom and dad's place for mixing some tracks or just kind of listening to them. I actually used them to master the tracks off the Hard, Heavy, and Loud album. And those are Speakerlab 7s from the mid-70s. And those came with 12-inch subs, 10-inch woofers, and then two horns for a mid-range and tweeter. And man, the magnet on the back of that tweeter horn was it's like 25 pounds. And it's got a canister around it that's about the size of a Folgers coffee can. Those are really, really nice speakers as well. So for a while, like I said, I've been thinking about, could my mixes get any better if I were to actually be using for real studio monitors? I mean, the only really big deal about a studio monitor is that it's supposed to be as flat as possible through the frequency spectrum and not really color the sound to be more pleasing or whatever they say about them. And usually it's just basically, color the sound so it sounds better right there. So you want to actually hear exactly where the problems frequencies may be, and you'll be able to get rid of those or accentuate things where you don't have enough strength in the frequency range coming through, like if you need a little more bass, a little more mid-range, so forth. And then those are supposed to be able to translate properly over to basically any system that's out there, right? So, I had the money, I got the space to do it or whatnot. So I've been thinking like, okay, maybe if I'm going to do this, it's time to pull the trigger and actually do it. So I know all the stuff that's out there, all the products. It's just I have no idea which one's really going to be the best or not. So I just decided I'd look up online and try to find frequency curves for all the different models that are out there. And the Yamaha HS8 speakers showed the best frequency curve, which means it was the flattest that I've seen. On top of that, Yamaha has also been in use in the major studios around, at least in the US, if not around the rest of the world, since the 70s. I mean, at least the late 70s. And those are the NS10s, if I remember right. And the HS series is, of course, it's updated versions. It should be better than what the NS10s were able to produce back in the day. And the NS10s, man, there's a ton of studios that produced some of the best music we've ever heard throughout the 80s and the 90s and stuff on those NS10s. So if if the big studios think they're good enough for them, then the Yamaha brand, when it comes to studio monitors, combined with the fact that I saw curves that were showing that they were basically flat, it makes me think, you know what, I'm going to buy those, check them out, see what we can do. Because I don't have any way of checking them live around where I'm at. Our music stores really don't have a whole lot of this kind of stuff because cost of the product and just what kind of economy there is around here where I live. So anyway, let's take a look. So here's the box they came in. And it took 2-3 weeks from order for Yamaha to get them shipped out to me. I don't know why it took so long, because once they shipped them out of Illinois, they showed up within just about 4 or 5 days. But anyway, pretty darn big box for just two speakers or two cabinets that just hold 8-inch speakers, like 8-inch woofers and a 1-inch tweeter. So there's bound to be a lot of packaging inside. Sure enough, there's got to be a lot of packaging in there. I got 2 of those boxes. And nothing in there but separating it was just the cardboard. So it must all be contained within that. And here it is. That's what they're both going to look like. It's not too bad, but it's really not that much different than my Fishers that I'm using for my surround speakers here. These guys. Not a bad sound for the woofer. Let's go ahead and check out these monitors. People are probably going to go, oh no, don't do that, but this doesn't hurt them. That's deeper. That's actually going to provide more bass than what these Fishers would. Ow, static electricity. I mean, I can hear the bass as deep as this other one, as a Yamaha, but not as prominent. Oh yeah, that's going to have more thump to it. Let's see, we got level control. Says minimum 4 dB plus 4, what's that, -10. So it's got a little notch there too, okay. So 4 dB is optimal for the Yamaha AW4416 recording system I use. I think it'll probably work well for the interface I use with my DAW also. That's nice. Turns pretty smooth, okay. Balanced inputs, XLR and TRS. Room control, that's for the low frequencies. Basically, it's just a low frequency attenuator. 0 dB, -2 and -4. High trim, the same thing. +2, that's like an L-pad. +2, 0 dB and -2. That's to try to optimize them for the kind of room you're in. Now, from what I've read, Yamaha claims to set these things up with at least 1.5 meters of space away from walls. So that's really damn close to basically just being 5 feet. So I'm not going to be setting it up in one of the smaller rooms. Probably won't be setting it up in this room either. No, I'll probably set them up in the big room just to test them. Yeah, I think this will be the room that I'm going to set them up in to test them. Not really. I don't really have anything at the moment to really set them on. I don't have a desk or anything, but I do believe I got a good plan. Those top or speaker cabinets on the PA here, I could just pull those down, flip them up on their side, and they should be tall enough to put the monitors at the proper listening level. I think that'll be a good start, just for testing purposes. Of course, the old drum kit, piano. I think I'll just use that. I'll just set it right up here in the middle of the floor, and we'll get a good idea, because that way I am away farther than 5 feet from any wall, any corner, and I should be able to actually get a good representation of what these speakers will really sound like without having to worry about any kind of reflections coming off the walls or what interfering with anything. Yeah, I believe this should be a workable solution for testing out these monitors before I'm able to actually put something in that they can actually stand on or be placed on permanently. But yeah, this puts them at the right height, so the tweeters are about ear level, really close to ear level. Got about 5 feet apart, maybe a little less. Probably it's not too important, I guess, but well over 5 feet behind them and well over 5 feet behind me. And I'll just set up, I'll set up the DAW on the trap cases there and just hook up power and start doing the tests. So I think this will be a good setup for testing purposes. I think I'm also going to take that condenser. I'm going to stick it up here about ear level. And I want to record some frequency responses myself onto my DAW. I'm using Reaper. Just to see what it may show me. If there's anything beyond what I can tell. All right, so let's go ahead and switch these on. See what happens. Hopefully I don't hear any big noises or any blowouts. Left. Hey, good there. We got power. The little lights are on. What are those little lights? Uh-huh. Okay. Let's get the DAW set up. Okay, so I'm gonna do something here for some testing purposes. I got the system set up to generate some white noise, and I've got one of my condenser mics set up in front, and I've set up the mic to pick up the volume or to the gain so that the volume being displayed on the recording system is just as loud as the volume of the white noise coming out. So, well, let me show you what I got going on. So here's the setup for testing purposes. I know most people are like, where the fuck are you bothering with this? Because I just want to know. That's why. And the mic, its condenser is a unidirectional. It's facing out that way. And as you can see from the graph here, we don't have absolute dead silence, but the low end frequencies which are showing up the strongest are below 66 dB or negative 66 dB while I'm not talking. And then, you know, we go up the graph there. The high end is really quiet. So let's just turn on the white noise generator and see what happens. That's pretty good. That's pretty flat. You're not really going to see too much better than that. Let me see if I can set this up with a tone generator to sweep it from the low to the high and see how that plays out. Okay, so I'm going to use a sine sweeper in Reaper to test the frequency range that is picked up by the mic here. And the mic is a good mic. It picks up pretty much all the way to 20K. Above that, it might start dropping off. And of course, to our ears, that don't matter. Because our ears, like myself, I don't really hear anything past 15K. And that's perfectly fine with me because most everything you listen to, including with cymbals and the breathiness of vocals and things like that, that's still all well below 15K. So up there above that is just, I don't know what you call it, like the air or whatever. It's stuff that may be important, but it's not so important that we have to actually really be able to hear it extremely well. So I'm going to start up the sine generator, and we'll see what the peaks actually show. See whether or not they stay relatively the same volume or move up and down or what. Let's go ahead and start this up. Let's look at that again. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Now, if you guys were actually able to see, there was a few dB of a dip up there just above the 5K, maybe around, let's see, what does this show? It's closer to the 10K. It might have been right in between, say like 8, 9K. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, yeah, somewhere around there. And it wasn't that big of a dip. Probably nothing that's going to be too important when listening back. But overall, the frequencies were pretty flat. I mean, pretty much the same volume throughout the entire spectrum. Plus, we got to think about how well the microphone that I have here may actually be picking up the entire frequency spectrum. So it's all really damn close. And while I was standing here videoing the computer screen, you know, I'm actually sitting behind the monitors and the ports are back here. And of course, I'm still a good distance away from the walls. In fact, take a look. You know, this is a good 10 feet or more away from the walls all around me. No reflection. And these HS8s were producing enough bass that I could actually still feel it in the floor. And it even rattled the springs on the snare drum over there a little bit. So I think they're going to sound pretty damn good. I guess the next check is going to be put in a CD. All right, I'm going to put in a CD here, just play a few minutes of a song. Hopefully this doesn't get my video muted or anything. But let's see how this sounds. Pretty good. I'm really happy with that. They sound really damn good for just being the 8-inch speakers and plenty of power. Let's try something else. All right, let's try this next track here. This is one of my favorite bands from back in the day.
Forgive her, for she knows not what she does. Across upon her bedroom wall, from grace she will fall. An image burning in her mind, envy between her thighs.
again, that was pretty good. Not quite as much in the low end as the previous track, which is Ozzy off of No More Tears, Mr. Tinker Train. But then again, the typo negative here that I just played, especially Bloody Kisses, they didn't have the really low rumbling sub-music or subsonic sounds in their music. In any of their albums, they had a little bit more punchiness in the upper low registries, or I should say low mids, and more in the I guess upper mids. Like you heard the click on that kick and whatnot probably, and it was a little bit more punchy in the upper range than say you heard off of Ozzy. But let's go try out, I don't know, how about Alice Cooper? Okay, so this is Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare from 1976. And this album highly influenced my work that I'm doing right now on Delve Deep Inside the Mind of a Madman.
Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna feel you belong.
This one doesn't have the crispness and the high ends that the other albums did, but it's older and it's on tape and it's using darker colored mics and whatnot.
'Cause you belong. Welcome to my nightmare. Welcome to my breakdown. I hope I didn't scare you. That's just the way we are when we come down. We sweat, laugh, and scream here. Cause life is just a dream here.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Definitely more of a kind of a mid-range, low mids and high mids mix here in this album. Doesn't have anywhere near the low end that No More Tears did. I think, let's pull up one of my own tracks. Not the ones that I'm currently working on on the AW 4416, but let's pull up a Reaper track. I don't have a name for it. I had it mixed where I really like it within those headphones I mentioned earlier. And the only thing I might work on still with the track as far as instruments goes are the drums, maybe like how the snare sounds, things like that. Let's see. Is it this one? I can't remember. I don't really have a title for it. Let's check this out. No, I'm not going to save this project. Just open up the other one. Turn the volume back down in case it's super extra loud. This might be the one that sounds like it's Can't You See from old Marshall Tucker, I think it was. But this isn't the one I'm thinking about. Oh, yep. Sounds good. The guitars sound pretty good. I might want to be scooping out a little bit of the upper mid-range. I like my hi-hats. All right, well, after listening to my own mix through these things, a track that I completely mixed through those Koss UR40 headphones, I would say there's only a few little changes over the global EQ for this track. I would just pull down maybe a little bit of the mids, and then I would do something to accentuate even more low end, not just from the kick, but the overall source. So something like my Aphex Exciter could do that for me. Anyway, these sound pretty damn good. I'm impressed for the how small they are, and being that I put them in this big room, and I could still feel them shaking the floor with the bass. They're, uh, it's not like some of my other stuff that they've had. I mean, yeah, my big speakers out in the other room are going to get a lot louder because those big speakers move a lot more air. And those Speaker Lab 7s at the other house at home, those things are just earth shattering. And yeah, these aren't going to get as loud as these big PA speakers that I got in the back. But for mixing purposes, sitting right here next to the speakers, these Yamaha HS8s sound pretty damn good. I mean, if you're doing rock music or jazz or anything that's like not techno, hip hops, or dubstep or whatever, you probably don't need the subs for these things. Not from my experience now, anyway. And if you do get a sub, it's just going to be something that's used very lightly with these things because they do produce more than enough bass on their own. They sound pretty darn good in my opinion. I'm happy with these. I think I will use them. I do like using headphones a lot still because I can hear a lot of really nuanced details, left and right channels, like, oop, do I want that there or do I not want that there? But at the same time, I really like to just be able to sit and listen to speakers, have it playing while I'm just sitting there away from the speaker without having to wear the cans. So anyway, hopefully you guys found this as useful as I did. These Yamaha HS8s are really good in my opinion. And yes, from doing a really basic rudimentary test, they are, for all intents and purposes, perfectly flat responding, from the low end all the way up to what we can audibly hear in the high end.